Welcome. This is Learn and Do with Peter on April 18th, 2024. And
No,
most of us are
not now.
coming
I'm
back
in a meeting.
from uh, coming
And
back
that was
from
Claire's
Sorry,
dog.
Claire's got it.
I was telling my dog.
I'm a little worried about my dog, but he's out with my wife outside, and I hope that's going to go okay. We'll see. Uh, we're kind of following on from yesterday's session. Most of us were here yesterday, so I can skip a lot of the kind of pleasantries and catching up. And Dan, if you have questions and you're lost, just and Scott, just like raise your hand, or you can just butt in and whatever and say, hey, I feel like I'm missing something. You guys know something that I don't. What is it? So that's Dinky in the background. I think you can probably hear him. Share screen. So yesterday we talked about Jankifiers and we started talking about LLMs. We also had a really interesting conversation about the mutual support group for people who need to do short videos. He's going to calm down in a sec, I think. So I think this is him saying, I'm pissed. Mom like stuck me inside and now I can't go out and bark outside. So we had a lot of fun with Jankifiers. A few of us started, I'm gonna go grab him. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna keep talking while I'm doing this. Yesterday we had a lot of fun with Jankifiers and a few of us created Jankifiers even. And we could keep going on that, but I wanna make sure kind of, well, actually it doesn't matter when we cover LLMs and stuff. This is Dinky. I don't know if you can see him. So he'll be on my lap for a little bit and I think he'll come down. I want to get to LLMs, local LLMs and remote LLMs and LLM managers and all that kind of stuff. So my idea of today is to do mostly that. But you know, let me look at you all again. But it doesn't matter too much. We can cover whatever. I feel like it would be nice to move forward, but we were doing really productive stuff with Jankifiers and we could slow down a little bit and dig into that. That would be awesome too. So anybody want to represent for Jankifiers, and we should do more of that while we're still top of mind? Cindy?
So I wondered if, because I'm going to mess around with some additionally this weekend, if we wanted to spend any time yesterday, you had mentioned the publishing part so that we didn't have to have you do all of that. Do we want to do that to empower us so we can leave you alone?
That would be awesome. Thank you for kind of volunteering like that. I was thinking yesterday it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah, so maybe train us up so that then we can help others and we can help others.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do some of that. Comments from anybody else? So we'll do some Jankifier publishing. We could, there's no reason to like rush towards the LLM stuff and there's more stuff that we didn't talk about with Jankifiers, like what's likely to be a good choice to do in JavaScript is the thing that we didn't really talk about. Another thing, RJ kind of hinted at it yesterday, is like, as we Jankify, are we actually making any difference to the image generator or not? And you know, how do we make more or less perturbation in the image generator? I know all this stuff anyway, so so I don't know how much it's interesting and how much we should like stick on Jankifiers or how much we should kind of like move ahead. So there we go. RJ?
Well, I just like to point out too that one of the most powerful things any of us could do to 10x ourselves, to make ourselves 10 times better with AI is to get it to write code for us, given that most of us aren't coders. So, you know, it's it's good that people got a chance to see how to do that and run code in a browser, run the JavaScript in a browser, but they may want to think a little bit bigger than just the applications that we've been doing and think about other applications that they could ask Claude in particular, because I think it's pretty good at doing for some tasks that they have to do to maybe automate something that they're doing as a quick ad hoc thing, or you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's a really great comment, RJ. I would like to get, well, it's kind of funny. Jenkifyers ended up being like the narrow end of what because what I started talking about originally was, hey, let's all, ChatGPT is great at coding Python. Let's code up a bunch of Python stuff. And and then the things I wanted to code up or wanted to demo coding up are like pretty complicated. And then running Python it's actually not very complicated. It's actually really easy, but it's very technical. So then it narrowed it down to something really easy to think about Jenkifying, and then something really easy to run JavaScript. But it would be nice to kind of narrow that back out too. Danielle?
So I was thinking about Jankifier that after Cindy's one, I'm like, how she want to do her raccoon one, which was really cute. And then I'm like, oh, I want to jump on the bandwagon. Let's make a frog one. And so I thought about, okay, that was really lame because it really didn't do much to anything. It didn't do anything cool. Mine didn't do anything cool. Like I don't know, but I think that RJ just said something, and it was more. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it didn't do anything really to the prompt to make it anything magnificent. It didn't do anything meaningful. You know what I mean? It didn't do
Yep.
anything. No, I'm not talking about Cindy. I'm talking for myself here. Okay.
Yep.
It was just being silly type of thing. But I'd like to think of something, think more on a deeper level that would make something more meaningful and more that could make the make something more. I don't know if I'm making any
That
sense.
makes total sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before I let you talk, I want to say, like, are you going to mention anything about the whole Llama 3 thing that happened today? Or no? Are you going to touch on that?
I wasn't planning to actually.
Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. Then forget I said anything. Okay, well, whatever. Then
No, that's
yeah.
actually, well, I wish if I'd thought about it, if somebody had put a comment on the meeting thing on my
I would
networks,
have,
and I
but
were
I
like,
thought
oh, I know.
because okay. Anyway, sorry, but no. Okay, so I would like to make something more meaningful than a Frogifier.
Yeah,
That's what
got it.
I'm saying. That
It makes a lot of
something
sense.
that like, how do we come up with how do we brainstorm ways to come up with more meaningful.
Yep, got it. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So RJ, Danielle, thanks for kind of thinking through that with us. I'm realizing this is going to sound funny, but I was all excited about switching to LLMs because I don't want to bore you all. It's like, oh my God, we did so much Jenkifiers yesterday. They must be bored of Jenkifiers.
But there's so much more you could do.
We could do a lot more, yeah. We could learn a lot more and do a lot more. Thanks for mentioning Llama 3, by the way. I actually, for whatever reason, I'm heads down. I didn't see any news. The one news I saw was one of the Nimblebox, one of the service providers I'm kind of signed up for, says, "Oh my God, we've got Llama 3. You come run Llama 3." So selfishly or something, the thing that I'm really excited about is yesterday, the Midjourney guy said that team generation is going to drop for the 10K club yesterday or today. So the thing that I've been refreshing is like, have they released yet? Have they released yet? So I definitely want to play with Llama 3, but it's
Is that
actually
an
underneath.
Midjourney thing?
Midjourney, this is
What
like,
is?
it's an early access thing, so I
Oh.
apologize for being a snooty 10K whatever.
I don't even have Midjourney, so I'm like, oh,
I
okay, good
know,
for
right?
you.
Yeah,
I don't
the rest of
care.
us, Danielle, we're still stuck over on Discord. We don't have fancy Pete's land to live in.
Well, no, I don't even
Sorry.
use Midjourney, period. So
Yeah, Danielle has
I'm
no Midjourney.
I mean, I know I've heard of CREF, this, that ref, whatever, slash this and that, but I'm just like, okay, good for you. I'm just here for
And
the
And
Jank
I
fires.
heard Danielle say at some point, you know, in one of our spaces, maybe I should try Midjourney. And I'm like, I so much want to, I've been too shy to actually tell her, dude, the way to do it, you have to sign up for the $30 a month account right away so that you could get unlimited generation. And then if you're doing that, you might as well spend whatever it is, $60 for the first month so that you can do it
Or you
stealth.
can be like some of us old school, and I'm still on Discord. And
Well,
Well,
this is,
tell me how to do it that way, Pete, and then, because hey, you know what? Let's just add to the mounds of thousands of dollars I'm spending on my business. I'll just add to it. I'll write it off.
let me do this real quick because
Go ahead. Go. Sorry.
well, let me do the Midjourney thing real quick. Because I don't know why, because so if I say Midjourney pricing, it's like hecka expensive. And so the reason I'm trying to, the whole reason I'm trying to monetize my Midjourney, like, you know, I've got
Yeah, you're
Midjourney
fine.
classes and planning and stuff like that, is because I need to figure out how to rationalize this to my wife. You did what, Pete? So the problem with it, you know, you can buy into Midjourney for $10 a month, which is great, but you get a certain number of hours, and this is an okay number of hours. But the problem is you burn through these, and then you're stuck buying more, right? So if you're going to spend $10 for 3 months, you should spend $30 for 1 month and get unlimited relaxed GPU time and generate as many images as you can. Because the whole thing with Midjourney is the more images that you've burned through and the more junk ones that you've made, not that any of them are junk, but you know, they're all beautiful and well, actually some of them are weird and creepy. But anyway, you don't really get it until you've burned through 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 images, right? And that's the point at when it starts getting really fun. So you have to get this, right? So then it's like, you know, if you're going to spend $30, spend it all in 1 month instead of 3 months. That's my big deal. So then the other thing is stealth mode doesn't pop until you get to the $60 plan. Stealth mode means that you can hide all of your generations from everybody else, right? They don't get to see them, they don't get to download them, they don't get to copy your prompts, which maybe that matters, maybe it doesn't. If you're just trying to learn Midjourney, it probably doesn't matter what other people do with your stuff. And there's so much stuff anyway that like it's hard to you know, steal from one person because there's just way too many images. But like if you're potentially doing it for a client or something like that, if you're trying to rationalize it by saying, well, I could, you know, I could make mouse pads and mugs with images on them and sell them, then you don't want to, you know, not have stealth. So then all of a sudden you're here. So this is literally, that was the, you know, I did 1 or 2 months at $10 and spending $4 for every additional hour. It's like, figure out how to blow this, because then the $60 a month is way too much and you can get it down to 48, but then you have to do 12 months. So there's my sad story of woe. Why? And then you're on, you know, then you're on the track anyway.
Then I'll be on a
Vicky.
mission for 30 days for like get the 10,000 images in 1 month. I'll be on it like 24/7. No,
Right on.
okay.
That's exactly what you do. So Vicky, you've got your hand up. I'm going to bring up Discord while we're in the background.
Okay, so I have a hack for those who are on the web version but the $8 a month plan is not enough. So while you're waiting for your images to generate, if you go to like 2 tabs down on the left and rate the images, you can earn a free hour every day. If you get in the like the
Do you-
top 1,000 people, and like it's really easy to do.
You realize we have something incredibly special here, and
Vicky, I know they switched the rules.
so
They
I
didn't give
sold
away.
the company 20 years ago and retired, and I absolutely
Do we know whose hot mic is hot? No.
It
I think it
was
was Nancy or something.
not
Thanks, Nancy.
anymore.
For a while, they actually took away the free hours. They weren't giving hours to rate images.
I've
And I
had
think
an hour a day for the last 3 days, so they must have brought it back.
they brought it back. I think just this week, actually.
Okay.
So
Can someone give instructions on how to do that? Because I might get a wild hair and just decide to do it. Because you guys inspired me to do Midjourney stuff, and I might want to, like, I don't know how to do. I mean, I can find Midjourney on Discord, but that's about it. I can find Midjourney on Discord. That's it. If anyone wants to type up instructions.
Vicky,
But
do
we
you
don't
have
have.
to
Let's.
do the web for to rate? Let's kind of show it real quick, but not
You
quite
don't have
enough.
to waste this time. We don't have to waste this time right now for the other stuff. I just.
Well, I want
Yeah,
everybody
sorry.
playing Midjourney. So.
Okay.
Is there ever a reason to go from the pro plan to the mega plan?
I have not found it yet.
Okay.
You know, there's the other thing is I am still doing every image. I copy paste them, so I copy paste a whole bunch at once, but I'm like initiating every image by hand. I want so much to automate that, but I read through the terms and conditions and it's like, don't automate it. I don't think they actually care too much, but I haven't. So I never run out at the pro plan. The other thing is I also ration my fast GPU time, and I'm always on relax unless I'm presenting or something like that, or I really want to get something done. So I end the month actually not spending all my GPU hours, my fast GPU hours, which means there's a really funny thing. It's kind of like payday or something like that. My anniversary date is the 8th of the month. So around the 4th or something like that, I'm like, shoot, I have to burn through all my fast hours I haven't used yet. So I'm like, just like pasting.
They don't roll over.
They do not roll over, no, which is fine. You know, even the queue stuff, I do bump into the queue limits all the time, but this isn't bigger, so. So real quick, Danielle, I think what you want to do is actually start at midjourney.com, if I remember. And it would look like this. And then you sign in, you know, probably join the beta. And then you end up on, now I'm thinking about this, it's a whole like confusing
Yes,
thing.
I did this. I did this a long time ago, like even before. Yeah.
So, and then you end up in the olden days, you end up in one of the newbies channels and you're doing stuff and things like that. The thing that Vicky was talking about, and I think this works for everybody, not just the alpha people. And I can't get to the non-alpha anymore, as far as I know. But over here, you can do rate images. And you just do 1 and 2, you know, this one's better, that one's better, and you just do a whole bunch. And what Vicky was saying is you have to do enough to get into the top 1,000 leaderboard of image raters, but she also said that was really easy. 2,000?
Yep.
I think it's 1,000 now.
Nope. And when I get my email, it says you are in the top 2,000, so you get an hour.
I kind of think it's 1,000. I think they switched it. But
no, this is as of yesterday. I'll find my email.
Well, my guess, yeah. I have a like a recap of the announcement on my email. I don't want to digging through it. So it's either 2,000 or 1,000. We'll say, we'll figure it out. anyway, so all you do is rate a bunch of images, which would be super fun for us, I think, people like us, and you can do it super fast. They said don't try to cheat and don't try to script this or something like that, but I can do them this fast, right?
Use your 1 and 2 buttons is
I'm
easier.
just doing 1 and 2, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just choosing which of the two you like better?
Yep.
Okay,
Like
so
an
I have a
eye
question about
exam?
this. I have a question about this, and it goes along with the whole ethics thing. Are we training the model? Because if so, I'm going to click on all the more ethnic centered pictures that I can.
My guess, you should try to get that asked in the open house. My guess is actually it's not so much about content as style and the way it looks is my guess. The CEO is actually kind of pretty open about answering those kinds of questions, and I remember he was talking about one of the really surprising things he said was we don't need, that obviously Midjourney went out and scraped like millions of images or whatever like that. And he says we really do need a lot more images to feed the monster. But he said we don't need more than 1 or 2 to get an idea of what an artist's style is even. What we really need is more obscure images, parts of the world where nobody's taken a picture, and stuff that people haven't taken pictures of and things like that. So I thought that was really interesting. The way they think about data and the way they think about what's important in images, it's, I get the impression they don't care too much what the content is, if that makes sense. Danielle, if you want to go for it, I would always be happy to walk through it with you. Maybe Vicky would too. Be super happy to show you, get you onboarded. Okay, so where were we? We were talking about Jenkifiers and yeah.
I was gonna ask, so okay. Oh, I forgot what I was just gonna ask. My mind just went blank. Never mind. My mind just went blank. I'm sorry. It'll come back to me. Continue.
Cool.
Sorry. It's okay.
Just
Sorry.
interrupt me or something.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Scott, I love your background. So I think I got through saying I didn't want to bore you all. I wanted to skip to like the next thing. There's no reason to do that. It really is interesting. So back to RJ's point, it would be cool to learn more coding with the bots. Interestingly enough, the LLM managers, there's a whole bunch of the models that are actually really good at code, and they're not really good at conversation. But if you get an LLM manager and you got your top 2 or 3, Claude and OpenAI and Llama 3 or whatever, then another one that you might pick is one that's not too big, it's local, and it's really good at coding. So I'm super excited, even for coding, I'm super excited to get into the LLM managers. But let's hang back a little bit. Let's talk more about Jenkifiers and coding and stuff. And between Danielle and RJ, they had an interesting, what they were talking about, the interesting next thing would be, was a little bit different. I think RJ was saying, I get it now. And I'm not saying one of these is better than the other. But RJ is like, I get it now. I'm running code in my browser. I wonder what other kind of code I could run. And so for me, I do things, and RJ said we could do more. We could level up what we get done if we knew how to drive the thing to code, right? So when I need something crazy done with files on my computer, I've got a big spreadsheet file, or I've got a bunch of images or whatever, I can go over to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, write me just kind of like a Jenkifier, except it's a little bit more complex. ChatGPT, write me a Python script that does blah, right? And it does something pretty complicated on my computer. Like I could pick out, um, I could get it to zip through a CSV file and look for certain kinds of things that would be hard to do in Google Sheets. Or I can tell it I need a script that changes, this whole directory of Google Doc files to PDFs or something like that, right? That kind of stuff is pretty easy to do, and it's conceptually not that different from Jankofires, if that makes sense. So that kind of stuff is kind of within spitting distance of where we are from Jankofires, kind of. And that's kind of what RJ was saying. So then Danielle was saying something different, which is like, dude, Frogify is really cool, but it doesn't, it doesn't really Jankify the prompt depth very much. How can we get more like Jankification?
It's not really
prompts?
cool. Correction. It's not. It's
I'm
really
trying to
not.
like level up here. I thought it was really cool, Daniel. RJ.
Well, there's more that people can do too, that's practical, and I've been doing this for years and years. With browsers, you can make bookmarklets, which also run JavaScript. And what's handy about that is we use our browsers constantly. And I've been using bookmarklets that run JavaScript for years to make my browser experience much more pleasant or much more powerful. I can do things that other people can't do typically if they don't know how to use a bookmarklet. And it's really cool. What you do is you save the JavaScript that you get the LLM to create or you find on the web somewhere. You save it as a bookmark. And to run it, all you have to do is click on the bookmark. And instead of going to a website, which is normally what a bookmark does for you, it runs the JavaScript. And that could mean doing something like turning the screen dark, if you want to have that particular page dark, or do all kinds of stuff. There's there's tons and tons of stuff I do with JavaScript. So that's another thing that people might find very useful to improve their browser experience using JavaScript in a bookmarklet way of running it instead of running it as an HTML file.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, and I agree. Which means we should try Jankifier in a bookmarklet.
Yep, you could do that.
Jankifiers they need input kind of an output. So yeah, I don't know. We should definitely try it. So I think the thing to do is talk a little bit more about how Jankification works and what ChatGPT did to get some of the Jankifiers written that we did. To kind of that'll kind of it'll baby step us into kind of thinking about how to program a little bit. Not to learn how to program, but to learn, what's possible, what's not possible, how to tweak stuff if you wanted to tweak it and things like that. I think that's kind of the place to go next. So let's do that. Maybe I'll talk about something a couple minutes at a time. Cindy, what you said was really good, and I can't quite remember it without
Publishing.
Publishing. Thank you very much. Maybe let's do that first, because that would debottleneck stuff really well. And then we can talk about whether or not you need to do all those steps anyway. So let's talk about that. Got an interesting place. Let's see. bear with me for a sec while I try to find a couple Jankofires, unpublished Jankofires that need to get published, quote unquote, and then we can kind of like go through the process live. And the reason this is, bear with me for a minute, is because, well, I'll do this first. Volumes, WD. This one here. You don't have to, this is, I'm not teaching. You don't need to learn this one. What I was doing was looking for these here. Most of these are new, I think. World Art Text Modifier is pause, needs to get published. And then some of these others are pretty cool. But they're like fresh off the, download link. They don't have that publication thing going for them. So let me grab these real quick. I think this is actually, I did the same prompt. I was testing to make sure that the rewritten prompt I had was still good enough, and it was.
Peter, you didn't put in today's HackMD, you put in yesterday's twice.
Thank you. Thank you, RJ. Let me fix that real quick. So put in yesterday's twice, so we still need today's.
Yeah, the 17th is in there twice, the exact
Thank you very much.
same URL.
Yeah, thank you. So that's today's. I wish, while we were talking pretty fast, I wanted to write some of that down, but I didn't. But feel free to write down more stuff here. Okay, so now I've got the file names of these, and I need to move, copy. The reason I did something cool and clever and scary and stuff like that. My downloads directory is the junk file, or it's where I keep everything almost. I mean, there's documents and then there's downloads, everything. So so in prep for today, I was going to be installing a bunch of LLMs and all that kind of stuff, and I thought that would be gigs and gigs and gigs of space. So I cleared up like 170 gigs off my hard drive by copying it off to an external hard drive. But now all my download files are like over on that other drive. They're not where I was expecting them. So anyway, this is where we're back here. So let me show you how I would do it, and that won't be the way that you would do it, but it's the same steps, and then we'll work backwards from there to make it more reasonable steps. So kind of ignore all this command line stuff, unless you're into command line stuff. Let's see. So where I'm trying to go is the website. So where we want these to end up is on this website in the Jankofires folder. So this website looks like it comes up on Obsidian on my computer. So this is the page on the web. This is the page in Obsidian, and then Obsidian is more or less it's a file browser and a text editor. And so all the Jenkifiers I've published, you don't have to publish them through me, by the way. But all the ones that I've published, and I'm happy to publish the ones that you either don't want to publish someplace else or do publish someplace else. They're all in this folder here. And I can turn that into a Finder window, but like that. So here's the Jenkifiers. This is the table of contents for the Jenkifiers. It's a markdown file called Jenkifiers, and it's this file. And then the Jenkifiers themselves are here. So conceptually, what we want to do is, and again, I'm going to keep saying it probably. I'm doing it in a more complicated way than I think you'll want to do. So first, we'll do it the way that's easy for Pete but complicated, and then we'll move that down to easy for everybody instead of complicated. So these are the published ones. These are the non-published ones. Let's look at them as text files real quick. Encryptor is actually okay, I think. Yeah. So one of the ways that we, if I double click this, you probably know that it's going to open up in my browser. So we've been changing the tail end of this. I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. I'm just going to add .txt to the end. That's good enough. It's what it ends with. The inside part doesn't matter. So this is going to help remind me that this is really an HTML file that I've turned into a text file by adding the thing there. Let's look at one of these, and then let's look at one of the, I'm going to look at Interleaver instead of Frogify, even though I really want to look at Frogify. I'm going to do the same thing. And then let's look at these. It's funny, well, yeah. I was going to do this all in the command line thing with a text editor called Emacs, but I guess I'm doing it here. So this might be something you kind of do. Look at two Jenkifiers in text mode in text editor Notepad. So this is fresh off the text encryptor is fresh off the thing. And then let's compare it, this one to this one. The difference, the whole publication thing is adding copyright notice and then a little bit of extra documentation. And Cindy, I'm super glad you asked, and this is an important thing to do. And I was putting it off because I kind of want to make this easier than easier. But if you're doing stuff this weekend, maybe it's worth kind of doing.
No, we can wait if you want to come back to this. We'll
Well,
just add it to the agenda
so
at some point, so you don't have to do all the work.
yeah, let's go through it. Let's go through it, and it's going to be more complicated than I think we can end up making it. So a thing to know about HTML files is they kind of go line by line. The web browser doesn't care actually if it actually doesn't care at all about what we call white space. Well, that's not quite right. It doesn't care about line breaks between things. Line breaks are like carriage returns, and when you hit enter at the end of a line. So some HTML things won't have any line breaks. It'll just be one long line, like literally 100,000 characters, just one long line. These aren't like that because ChatGPT made them. And if people are making it, or ChatGPT is making it for a person, it's going to put each line kind of having one kind of thing on it. So the way I look for things is kind of per line. This is we'll call these tags, these angle bracket things. They start with an angle bracket and end with angle bracket. That's a tag. So this is an HTML tag. This is a head tag. This is a meta tag. This is a title tag. So the thing that we want to do to publish, quote unquote, is the way, and literally this is the way I do it. I bring up one that's already published, and I just know what to copy over. So I want to copy this copyright notice and I want to put it in a particular place. It's not super critical where it goes, but it is super critical that it doesn't break a tag. So it would be really bad to put it inside this tag. But between tags, between these lines that have these angle brackets things, that's what you want kind of. So that's one copyright notice. This is for people looking at the text file. And then there's another one. This one is for people reading it on the web. And this one goes right before the /body. And in my head, or in my, in my plans, I guess, this is all written up as a how-to, and you don't have to, like, I remember where it's all supposed to go, but you would just be reading it. It's like, okay, now put this kind of copyright in, right before, look for /body and put it right before that. I started a checklist actually. This is the beginning of that instruction sheet. And this is actually on the web, even though it's not linked yet. But so we'll make this better and better. And I'm just going to do it without even looking at the instructions. So now we've got the copyright notice, the attribution done. This is actually kind of one level of completeness. Let's take this a little slow and save that, and then change it back to HTML, and then load it in our web browser. You'll notice something interesting that on Macs, the applications know when a file gets changed, and it changes it in its idea of it, which is fine, I guess. We can actually maybe take advantage of that at some time. But anyway, I want to test this. So now I can see that it's got this attribution, open source dedication. And if I did view source, which is something we've kind of talked about being able to do, you can do view source on any web page. Sometimes you can see stuff, sometimes you can't, but you can do it on any web page. So you'll also see that it's in here too. So that's great. We successfully kind of got to, we went from like step 0 publication readiness to like level 1, and we could actually push it out the door now. One of my concerns is that, let me back up for a sec. One of the reasons you're making Jenkifiers is just because you want to Jenkify a bunch of prompts, and maybe you don't want to publish it, and that's awesome. That's the right thing to do. Just make Jenkifier, use it, give it to a few friends. As soon as you put it on the web, Danielle.
Okay, so whenever you have a chance, some of these Jenkifiers I have not had a chance to try out yet. And would you mind, and I don't know if there's some people in here who haven't seen all of the Jenkifiers or who have missed a lot of them, who don't even know what they are, maybe? Could you model a couple of them whenever you get, if you have a couple extra minutes, whenever you have a chance?
Yeah, which ones?
I don't know. There's some, I don't know. Like, I don't even know if you just encrypt your one. I don't even know if you could like do a prompt into it and then
Yeah,
create an image.
let's
If
do
you
that.
could try
Let's do show and
just,
tell. That would be super fun, and it would be
okay.
a
It
little
would be,
less
I don't even,
stressful than looking at HTML code.
please.
So the only one here that's from somebody else is Paul's. So let's look at Paul's real quick. And let me find a good, like, wow, that's actually cool. We could, I don't want to, it feels like stealing when I grab somebody else's prompt. Let's use this one here. This is a good prompt. So remember, they're just files on your computer. You can load them, and then they turn into web pages, kind of. Dan's got a great question, by the way. Couldn't you build into the Jenkifier prompt the idea that you want these particular chunks in the output? And the short answer is yes. And the longer answer is then it makes it hard to remember what the whole Jankifier trick is. Let me show you real quick, by the way. Thanks, RJ, for these. This is awesome. I don't know if you saw, but RJ went ahead and did a GIF of how to Jankify. That's really cool. And then also a GIF of how to make GIF videos. So anyway, I'm super disappointed. I tried to, for me, there's a thing where I'm supposed to be able to add this to featured section, and then it kind of like pins it at the top of the thing. It didn't pin it at all for me, and I don't know. I don't. It's probably true for everybody. Anyway, let's look at the prompt real quick here for Dan. So this is the prompt that we're using pretty much, and you can actually just remember it. You don't have to like, there's only a few parts of this that are important. A single HTML file with JavaScript, and then tell it what you want to have happen, display it and copy it to the clipboard. That's kind of all you need. We could totally junk this up, not Jankify it. We could junk it up by saying, and I need this copyright notice here and that copyright notice here, and add these instructions. And by the time that you've done that, this is not something that you can remember. I was super pleased with myself making a Jankifier on my phone while I was walking my dog, my little Barky dog. So literally, like, you don't have to remember anything. You don't have to copy paste. It's just like, make a single HTML file with JavaScript. I want it to take some text and do blah, give me a download link. So another related question, which I've thought about, is, hey, Pete, or hey, one of you all, shouldn't we just write a GPT to do this? Because a GPT could totally do this, right? The reason I haven't been even talking about that is because GPTs are great and all, except they're OpenAI specific, right? And the whole idea of a Jankifier is like, find me an LLM, and if it's a local LLM that's decent, or if it's Claude, or if it's Gemini or whatever, it doesn't matter what the LLM is. They're all pretty much going to be able to write a Jankifier for you. So I don't want to get stuck in OpenAI's GPTs. I want, what I'm really interested in is for people to be able to remember the prompt enough to get what they want on the fly, basically. So then the follow-on to that is like, okay, well, then you've got all these raw Jankifiers that don't have, that don't have the right copyright stuff and the right instruction stuff. And so how do we fix that? One of my ideas is to make a GPT that does that, but then we're back in the GPT land and ChatGPT Plus and $20 a month. Another way to do it would be to have a Jankifier that modifies Jankifiers. I think that one's pretty cool. That might work. I started thinking about that, so we'll see. So let's play with Jankifiers. Sorry, I got distracted. And let's grab this prompt here. So again, this is Paul's, and if I do the publication part of this, what I've been doing is make sure it says copyright, Cindy Kuhn, in both places, copyright Daniel, copyright Paul. So imagine it with that. Paul's currently has the thing where it pops up the alert, which I commented out of Cindy's. I hope that's okay, Cindy. And I'd probably comment out. We'll come back to it, but it means to tell JavaScript to ignore it. So anyway, you'll see in here, hyperrealism. What it does is it adds some art styles into the prompt. So instead of something like frog verbiage that somebody might use, Paul's like, I wonder if I put art styles in here, if that's gonna like tweak the, the image generator. And so I think that's actually a good idea. Probably it needs to choose from more art styles, and probably it needs to put even more of them in or something like that. But let's try this prompt and see what happens. You'll see that I've got a style ref on this too. I don't think I have fast turned on here. I should. Okay, so we won't wait around for that, but that's world art text modifier. So let's look at some more. And text cooler, I was like so impressed with myself when I came up with the idea for this one. I wonder if this will work. Yeah. So the prompt for this to make the Jankifier was I told ChatGPT take the text and make it cooler. Danielle.
Can you also try these in ChatGPT as well?
ChatGPT, or the cool kids use Dolly.
I know, I'm well aware of that, but I'm not one of them, so not
No,
yet, at
Dolly.
least.
I said
I'm
Dolly.
not. I meant Dolly. Oh, I thought you were doing it over in Midjourney. Okay, sorry.
No, I did that one in Midjourney because Midjourney is the
Oh,
only one that exists for me.
oh.
Pete, I think
but-
that Danielle was that kid in class. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I think so too.
wait, I'm.
Okay, Danielle, why can't I find Dolly here? What am I doing wrong?
What's on your left?
Oh, it's not bookmarked.
No, yeah,
So you have to
no,
explore it.
you have to, no, okay,
But it's
yeah.
not
It's
If you
usually
hit,
GPT, is
open,
it?
but if you click explore, it'll be there.
Oh, and then
if
I
you
have
hit
to search for it here. Or it's right at top or something. Yeah.
There it is, right there in the middle. There. Oh,
No, it's a random one, right?
it was there. I just saw it.
Oh,
hit
maybe this?
It's right in. No, you just passed it. It looks like a
Right.
little rainbow wheel. Go back up. Right there. Right there.
Yeah.
Nope.
A rainbow
Right there.
wheel. Who the
There,
heck
there,
came-
there, rainbow wheel.
That is a
who the heck
rainbow
came up
wheel.
with that?
And then you can also pin that. Now that you have that, you can pin it. You can pin it over off to the side. It'll hit the drop down right there. Hit the drop down. Yes,
This
you're
one?
right there.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And now pin. Keep it in sidebar. Yeah.
Awesome, thank
And
you.
then
I'm not
now it'll
impressed that
make
it didn't
two.
show up, but
Well, you have to. Okay. Well, it should now. Maybe you have to refresh the page.
it took a little
Anyway,
while or something.
okay.
Now it's at the bottom of my, I don't know. Anyway, cool.
You could drag it
Okay.
up. Okay, whatever.
Let's do it. Make an image with this. Is this good enough? Prompt.
I think with Dali, you don't even have to say make an image.
The thing we bumped into was, I guess it was really the ones where they were backwards or something like that. Sometimes it would say, I don't know what you're telling me or something like that, or it would say,
There was
this
one,
isn't
yes.
this isn't a prompt, dude. I don't know what you
Yeah, we did that. It said no matter what, make an image with these words or something. We had to say that
yeah,
one
we had to
time.
like push it. So you'll notice, so let's try text cooler. You'll notice I'm using it's still in my clipboard, right? Paul's Jankifier copied it to my clipboard, and so it's still there. And we did Dolly, we did Midjourney. Let's see what Midjourney is. Oh, yeah, this is cool. A lot of this look is actually that style, but whatever. So it doesn't matter too much. Actually, let me do another show and tell thing. I'm glad y'all are ADD enough to keep up with me being ADD or something like that, right? So this is my newsletter, and I wrote a little thing about Jankifiers in this newsletter. And so here's a stock prompt, and then let me see if I can make this a little smaller. No, I made it worse. And then the original prompt. So down here in the legend, it says original prompt. After you do Janky Rhymifier plus letterific, after sortor, and this one is after reverse Jankifier plus Raccoonify plus Janky Rhymifier. So a cool thing that you can do is, it's in your clipboard. You go over to another, you find another Jankifier, you paste it into the input box, and you click Jankify, and then you keep doing it, right? So that's totally within bounds. Oh, I guess the reason I came here was not to show you pretty pictures. You know they're pretty. I have a story about these pretty pictures, though. I do this newsletter really late at night because I procrastinate or something like that. And then so late at night, this was giving me a ton of problems. So this is the original prompt. This is actually a nice ChatGPT generated prompt actually. So after Jenkins Ramifier plus letterific, it gets like this. And then Sortor gets like this. And then reverse, these three get like this. This is actually maybe a good time to think about what ramifiers or Jenkifiers do. So the Raccoonify, Frogify, even Adverbify, and some of the other ones where they just add some words, they kind of influence the image generator a little, and they kind of don't, right? I think the same thing is happening with Janky Ramifier. So this was probably create, this was large. So Ramifier takes the front consonants and changes it to something else. This was scavenger, from Raccoonify. I haven't noticed a lot of, even for the Ramifier, it doesn't do a lot. Reverse Jankifier, what it does, it was one of our very first one, it swaps words, and it also doesn't do a ton. The ones that really change the words around, so these are still related to the original words, but not in any recognizable way. So I can read this. It's terrible. I've started to be able to read after letterific. This says create and, and then it was, well, anyway. So if you want it kind of to be the same, like look at this one, you can kind of still read it, and it's still got picturesque and countryside. The generator can probably read that. This image, that's this image, is reasonably close to that image, the original. They're kind of close. We didn't like totally destroy it. These other ones, the original prompt is totally destroyed. And so then Midjourney or DALL-E has to get creative and make up something that, would match this whole mess of words. So the funny story, Pete is doing this late at night, trying to get a good series of things. For a long time, I had an original image, which was a bunch of people sad, like commuters on a busy street, some of them, depressed and blah, blah, blah. It's like, Pete, you don't want to put that in your newsletter because everyone's going to be depressed looking at you want a nice, pretty image. So then I went, it was this one, Sortor was this prompt. Just makes women that aren't dressed enough, mostly. And I'm like, dude, please, all I want is like a nice image that, is going to be family friendly and I can put in my thing. This one also, it was generating, I forget what kind, but it was generating all kinds of weird stuff. So I felt kind of bad. These particular images, these two, aren't what you get if you prompt with these prompts a lot. You get a lot of stuff that you don't want. This was one was making weird people with plants growing out of them, which was kind of creepy. So anyway, so this owl is not one of my best owls, but it was kind of the best that I could come up with this prompt after enough generations. So so keep that in mind. One of the things that we learned is there's kind of two different modalities here. The text is still kind of readable. The text is not kind of readable. Another thing we talked about is it's okay to chain them. It's okay to take the the output of one and put it as the input of the other one. So popping the stack is the way that we would call it in programmer terms. Coming back to where we were talking about, Danielle's got a question.
No, it's not a question, it's a comment. It was like
Oh.
one of the things that really made some of these prompts really cool was when we said zippering two prompts together. Do you
Yeah,
remember
interleaver.
that?
Yep, that's
And
interleaver.
yeah, that was the really good why is
Interleavers are
Serena
often,
laughing?
yeah.
I don't want to know. She wasn't here for that. I don't know why she's laughing. But
Who? Serena?
Serena's laughing. I don't know why. But it was when we zippered she wasn't even here for that. She didn't even know how cool the images turned out when we zippered two prompts together because it turned out really cool. Anyway, whatever. But like, yeah, I don't
Let's
know.
do it.
If
So here's a
we had
prompt, and here's a prompt. I can't believe I left this in, by the way. This is ChatGPT stuff. I'm usually pretty careful to take this off and just put this as the Midjourney prompt, but whatever. ChatGPT and DALL-E like this, and I think it doesn't matter, but anyway, so here's 2 prompts, right? Let's zipper them together. Interleave. So this will be pretty awesome. This is so old that you have to click copy to clipboard. So hopefully that'll be okay. And okay. I agree, Danielle. This is really a cool thing. And we did see when we were generating images with it, you'd get a mix of, we were doing like a forest scene and a city scene, and you'd get, it was cool.
And remember when you also did like the emojis too, even like when you
Yeah,
put,
yeah,
see, look at how cool that is
yeah,
with
it's
the 2
pretty cool.
prompts. That's one of my
It's not,
favorites. Whoever did that
it's
one.
not, actually this is coming out pretty good. I like it.
Look, it has persimmons.
Yeah, I
Who-
think the
who
original
can-
had persimmons, so who can argue with persimmons? You're totally right.
Yeah.
So this one's pulled away from a window even, so that's cool. These are cheating a little bit too because I've got chaos set to 50 or whatever. So, but cheating in the sense that they're going to be even more different than they would have been otherwise, kind of. So let's do text cooler on this prompt. So what I asked it for was make the text cooler, and I just let it decide, So what it decided to do was you put this emoji between all the words, which, and theoretically it's on, yeah. I tried this a couple times, and I wasn't super impressed, although I wonder if I just do that, if it'll. Oh, and I'm talking to DALL-E too. Theoretically, I don't have to say make an image, right? I'm so used to talking to ChatGPT. So I don't know. I like this one is kind of, it's kind of okay. Like somebody like ChatGPT, it's like, I don't know why you put all those sunglass icons in there. I'm just gonna ignore them, right? Probably kind of the same thing here. I feel like the stained glass looks a little bit different there than it might have otherwise, but so this is an okay one. It's not great. It needs help. So one of the things that you can do is feed it back into yourself, right? So now I'm selecting all, I'm doing Command V to paste it. And at some point, it's going to get pretty janky. So let's try that one now. And it's like, take that, AI. I'm really insistent about this thing, right? Okay, so that's text cooler. We'll see how cool it is. So even if you came on to this on the web, ChatGPT really loves to ignore junk.
I think you need to actually, instead of keep on using the same thread, you need to start, and because you're still using the
Start a
same.
new one. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
probably
it's just.
right. I have to find DALL-E over here.
Yeah, just hit it again. Yeah.
Thanks. That's good advice. It really just ignored it.
It ignored it. Yeah.
I think Midjourney did too, pretty much. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The stained glass maybe a little. Anyway, so let's look under the hood real quick. You can either download Jankifires or do view, right click and view page source. And then you see the Jankifier. This one's not very interesting. It's just got the text. Well, I mean, sorry, it's just got the script here. And I don't want to make you have to read the script. Although you can see it's doing something, you know, plus this. So probably it wouldn't hurt, you know, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't blow up your computer to change this to a different emoji or to, you know, ribbit or whatever. Let's look at Paul's too. So it's got the copyright stuff that the other one didn't, which is great. Oh, this is interleaver. I don't know how I got confused.
Peter, is there some way we can add more art styles to that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Paul. And that's kind of where I was going. I was trying to get to this and say, so pretend you don't know JavaScript. I know you all are, you know, pretty good at your JavaScript, but pretend you don't know it. One of the things that you can see, I think whenever we say something like add a certain kind of words, raccoon words or frog words or adverbs or adjectives, JavaScript is not like an LLM. So there isn't a JavaScript native way to tell, I guess there's not a JavaScript native way to say add a bunch of adverbs or add a bunch of words that, you know, that are related to frogs. So the solution to that ChatGPT came up with is I'll make a list of a bunch of words that I know are art styles, and then I'll choose from those randomly. So that's the way this works. And so to answer Paul's question, you know, I wish there were more of these. You can just go in here, and we did this once before. Probably you can just go in here and add more. So you go over to ChatGPT, say, actually, let's just do it. I'm going to say, take this list and add 20 more. I should have been, well, I was hoping it would be, I was hoping it would understand my my thoughts and not my words. I should have said keep it in the same. So this format is going to be like a pain to get back in there. So so I should have.
You can ask it to do that.
Yeah, I can, and that's what I was about to do. Let's do it up front though, because it's going to be even easier. I think.
Tell it not to number it. Tell it to not number it. Tell it to rewrite it without it being numbered and include commas.
Ask them to be comma separated. That's what I usually do.
Looks good. Yay.
You don't have the space, it doesn't matter.
And yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, actually, I know it doesn't matter if you didn't know JavaScript. Maybe you would wonder if it did or you didn't. Just try it, and you know it's not going to be the worst thing. So to edit this, we can't edit it in the web browser. We have to go back to my copy on my computer. So I'm going to close these tabs so I don't get confused about which one is which. And then I'm going to find it on my computer, and then I'm going to make a copy of it. Oops, I didn't want that. Duplicate. Instead of copy, I'm going to say new. Because maybe I'll break it, and I want to make sure I can get back to the original. Okay, so now we do our trick with. Did we ever try the trick of right-clicking and say open with? It's kind of like really simple to remember and hard to get it screwed up to do the .text.html thing, but you don't have to do it that way. If this would work on your computer, this would work too, I think. You know, the problem that we ended up with this is it goes into that rich text mode. So yeah, that's why we don't do that. Okay, so let's do the .txt thing. Open. Okay, so now theoretically I've still got on my clipboard if I was smart enough to copy it. I'm going to put a comma here because I don't think the first one is going to have a comma before it. Yeah, there we go. And it looks like it added them, so I should delete these, right?
Pete, is there a way to make it randomize which one it picks rather than picking the first?
It actually does. The one that we saw was Dada, and I forget what the other one is. It only picked two, and then so it's already picking random ones. I think Paul said, you know, pick random ones or something.
Do you want to have it so it puts more in than the way we originally made it? More choice.
That would be super awesome. So I think there were actually kind of enough. You know, it'll be nice to have even more. The big problem was that there weren't enough of them, I think. And like Paul thinks. So so if you can read JavaScript, you could actually do that. Let's pretend we don't know how to read JavaScript. It's actually not. This is a little bit fancy JavaScript anyway. I mean, it's not that fancy, but so let's pretend we don't know JavaScript. Maybe we don't. So the way to do it would be to ask ChatGPT to. This is something we've totally never done before either. I guess maybe I've done stuff like this, but let's have it look at this file, and let's fess up that it's really an HTML file. Let's have it look at this file and say, can you make it add more of the art styles or something like that, right? Art words. So by the way, this is a little bit advanced, a little bit more advanced than we've been doing for what it's worth. So, I mean, you should try to do this, but if it screws up or if it's confused or something like that, yeah, it probably will work. So the language I always use for this whenever I give it a file is consider the attached file. And then I'm just going to say modify the JavaScript so that it adds a lot more art words when it's adding random art words or something. So I don't know what Paul, I don't know what Paul's prompt was, so I'm kind of guessing, this is actually really cool. It said how, how the script makes that happen. So it's just changing that 5 to a 3 here. every third word instead of every fifth word. With Raccoonify, we did it a different way. And what I suggested for Cindy was for about half the words, add a raccoon verbiage. Come say, come saw. 6 of one, half a dozen the other. This will be better, definitely. Maybe it's good enough. So now you'll notice something. It's like, oh, Pete, you must know JavaScript because you're asking me to change the JavaScript. So it gave me just the function it's called back. It didn't give me the whole HTML file. And if I don't know JavaScript, I'm going to have to figure out how to splice it into the right place and not break everything, right? So, so that sucks. Let's say, please modify the original. And provide a download link because we like the download links. In a way, this is probably a helpful. It was trying to be helpful, and it probably is. Like, you probably know JavaScript because you're asking about it. Here's the new function. I'm not going to print the whole thing because it would take longer. It would be boring for both of us. But it's totally in bounds to say this. And probably I should have done. I could have put this in the original prompt and not had this step in the middle, or not. Either way. Poof. When I do this kind of stuff, I do this kind of thing for Python scripts. It's pretty good about changing the file names and stuff. So that's good. So now it's the updated one. The new one has got the longer list. The updated one has got the longer list and every third word instead of every fifth word. So let's check it out. Let's try to find our prompt. Yeah, we don't want to use the data prompt. We want to use the original one with no data. Okay, so here's the original prompt. Here's our new Jenkifier. Pretty sure. Yep, it's got updated there. Add your stuff. Okay, lots better. Nice, right, Paul?
Yeah. It's
almost too much.
No.
Not
More
too
is
much.
better, probably.
So let me put that in and then let's try using it. I'm gonna like zero out chaos, even though that won't let us compare directly with these other ones with a lot of chaos. It'll help us see what's going on better with the new things. I wonder what happened here. Danielle, does this look familiar that there's no image here?
It just had, because sometimes if you leave the screen and it just had an error, it would just refresh, hit the little circle arrow thing right there where the thumbs down is. Hit right below where it says let's create an image. Yeah, hit right there. Because it's see how it has the two. It looks like you're interested in, yeah. So it's just being ridiculous. Now it's creating an image.
So this is the cool one. I'm going to be bold and try to do another one at the same time. With this ultra art words. This is why they call it Chat GPT. Thanks. Yay. Okay. Let's see what this one came out to be. Super boring. I don't know. I'm really surprised. I thought there would be more to it. You know what you can do, since that's so art oriented, it would be interesting to zero this out. And oh, there's not enough words. I'm gonna do a crazy thing here and make more words.
You're gonna get yourself kicked off of Zoom.
Or something. Okay, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to make another. I am really surprised, actually. These are for the intensity of that prompt. I wonder if it's the style. Let's like kill the style, and styles are pretty strong. I guess I'll leave that too. Okay, so now we've got this also, just art styles and A's. And then we'll go here. This worked great. Showcasing a fusion of various artistic styles. This is getting close to what Paul wanted. I'm gonna try another one with just this art styles thing here. It's gonna give me a list, a lip. Oh my gosh. Paul, what do you want? Each style taking part of the space, or an
Just
abstract
say,
blend where it's
I would
interwoven?
just say
think
make an
it's-
image.
Yeah, I think Paul should pick.
I
Abstract blend?
think it just needs some meat to deal with, you know what I mean?
No, it's ready to go, but it's like, do you want
Oh,
one image with a bunch of different styles in different places, or do you want a blend of all the images all at once?
I don't know.
I
What do you
say
think?
blend.
Blend maybe?
Okay.
I use DALL-E so seldom that, and Midjourney does all the heavy lifting for me, so I never have to make these decisions.
So it really had to think about it. But it's doing a great job at thinking about it, I have to say. While it's thinking, let's look at this. Yeah, that's good. I forget what the difference between, oh, this is the one without the style. So I think that's the style, and this is the style reference. The style is really overwhelming the prompt even. So if you take away the style, it gets a little bit more. And then this is the one with just the A's and the art styles. Let's make a couple more of those. And look at this. Looks like a hot mess, but it's exactly what we asked for. So, so I'm good with that. Cool. So we're kind of at time. I can go over about 15 minutes. So let's go over about 15 minutes. and
Is that the zippered one? There was the
this
the
is,
mixed
we
mixed
didn't
prompt one.
do, I don't know that we actually,
I
did
know. Oh,
we?
I'm sorry. The Unilever. They're the
Interleaver, yeah.
interleaver one. Unilever
I don't,
interleaver one.
I don't
We
know
did do
that
one.
we, this one, no. This one, no. I don't, no, maybe it's Midjourney. Yeah, these are looking great. I like this one. I don't know that we did the interleave one, even though we had it like right. It was probably actually in my clipboard, but I don't think I pasted it in anywhere. Let's not do an interleaver one yet. Let's look at the other ones real quick. So we did text cooler, we didn't do obfuscator, reverser, processor, encryptor, scale adjuster, or Mojify it. Maybe this might be the old one. Yeah, no, this is actually a new one. This is a new one. Let me grab that prompt. And this one. My fingers are getting tired or something. Oh, and my window's smaller, that's why. Okay. So Emojify has the same problem. It doesn't change, you know, the generators don't care. So text cooler we did, text obfuscator. This one is interesting. I'll just leave the emojis in there, that's okay. This one is interesting because what I said is I was trying to get ChatGPT to be creative. So instead of saying, you know, reverse every word or whatever, I said, you know, make it cool. And I kind of left it up to, you know, and so I did the sunglasses, which is what I asked for, but I wasn't super excited about its creativity. This one for obfuscator, I said, make the text completely different, but leave it related to the original. So this is technically a perfect thing for it to have done, but and let's do this, kill that, put low chaos, and I'll copy this too. This ChatGPT got the joke. So what I asked for was make it really different, but make it also related to, you know, very related to the text. So what it did is it ran it through a data transformation that gets used all the time for turning, it's called binary data into text data. And I was looking forward to the time when I would be explaining binary data, but let's skip it for this time. Basically, it changes we talked about each character being a number. What it does is it takes that number and makes it into just letters and numbers. And that makes the text actually a little bit longer, but it's always safe to put it in a place that might screw up the binary data because some systems screw up text data less than binary data is the whole story. Anyway, so this is something like programmers learn, you know, probably in first year or something like that. This is a base 64 transformation of that. And it's super easy to turn it back. And like ChatGPT is like, dude, that's in base 64. I can I can decode it for you. By the way, this is related to, you've probably heard you can sneak things into ChatGPT, like instructions. You do something like this, and then you put more, you put more of a prompt, and then you post it. I'm not suggesting you do this, by the way. But mean people, they'll take this, something that's less obvious, but they'll take something like this and they'll take something, mundane, and they'll copy all of this and post it to Twitter and say, hey, look, this is the most amazing prompt, and it does like cool, makes something that people would want to see. And then they copy the whole thing. If you do it right, you can make it so you can't see this, and then you paste it in, and ChatGPT sees it right away because it's super obvious to ChatGPT, and that's how you sneak stealth prompts into people's LLMs. So don't do that, but that's kind of the way it works. And this is why it works, because somebody like ChatGPT is like, I can tell it's readable, and it reads it. Let's look at this. I think I did this base 64 prompt up here. Base 64 prompts make nice images, and they seem to have a lot of Asian influence, oddly enough. I don't know why that is, but whatever. Okay, let's look at a couple more. Text reverser. This is kind of a rewrite of, this is a junk prompt at this point. This one of the first ones we wrote was, reverse the whole thing. So it does the same thing. So I won't ship that one. I'll throw it away. Text processor. I don't quite remember what this one does. Oh, this is another one where I tried to get it to be creative and say, process the text, do something weird with it, right? Do something with it. That's all I said. Do something with it. It's like, well, I know something to do with it. I'll change it to all uppercase. And I'm like, okay, thanks. You did exactly what I asked, and that's not a useful Jankifier either. Text encryptor is actually going to be kind of cool. I'll use the not all caps one. This is another one where I said change the text, but it said, well, I know what I'll do. I'll do a Caesar cipher, it's called. What this does is it takes the number of each letter, view source. Oh, wow, look, I've already set this one up to publish. Except I didn't do, yeah, it's all there. I didn't, this is half done. I didn't do the instruction part that we didn't really cover today. It's adding 2 or 3 or something like that. It's shifting every character over. So A went to D, N went to Q, O went to R. So it's like 3 or 4 over in the alphabet. That's called the Caesar cipher. Geeks used to do this with the number 13. 13 is half of the alphabet, so it'd be halfway. And that was the way that you used to put jokes or like spoilers for TV shows and stuff like that. Back in the Usenet days, you would do rot 13, it was called, for rotate 13. And then people couldn't read it because this is really hard to read, right? Oddly enough, after a little while, you learn that A and D are the same. And after a while, people could read rot 13 natively without having their client D obfuscate it. So I forget what we did then, but that's text encryptor. Scale adjuster was a good try. It didn't do at all what I guess this was another one where I said, make it different. And it's like, oh, I know what I'll do. Make it visually different is probably what I said. I know what I'll do. I'll just change I'll change words. So you know, it changes. I don't even know. It doesn't do anything because if it doesn't find these words, it doesn't do anything. It's super boring. And then Emojifier, I think we kind of saw this one. It's not super exciting. Here's that list of, you know, this could be adverbs or frog words or whatever, or art styles. It's that same kind of list. So for these, the things to tweak are how many of these there are, and then how many, you know, how like, is it every fifth word, every third word, approximately half the words, all that kind of stuff. So there you go, kind of a quick dive on Jenkifiers.
Peter, just a real quick aside. Back in the old days when people bought cameras, camera shops that I know of would encode the price by using the word camerosity. CAMEROSITY, and it was 1 through 0. So if you knew that, you could see the what they paid for it versus what they're charging.
That's really cool. That's a good tip. Now I know how to cheat at the camera shop. Except the camera shop is now Amazon or B&H or whatever. But that's cool. I never heard that before. So theoretically, you could make a Jenkifier that does that. I wonder if you could ask ChatGPT, you know, use Camerosity or so I think maybe my conclusion from like kind of diving into the publishing thing, it's probably like kind of like what I thought. Even though Cindy's got use for it this weekend, it probably needs to be made easier so you can kind of see what's going on. But I think I should make a Jenkifier that you know publishifies other Jenkifiers or something like that. Or at least a GPT or something. So other questions?
Are any of your new Jenkifiers going to be published anytime soon?
Yes. I'll get yours up first, and then there's 2 or 3 interesting ones. I'll get them up too, and not the boring ones. So we're starting to get to the point where we've got a few too many in the list, kind of, or we at least need to like give people an idea. These are the ones. I guess what I was thinking was that we would the list is getting too long, and you know, and so I was going to group them into the ones that add words, catifier and adverbifier and frugifier, and then the ones that really change them a lot, like letterific really changes it. The encryptor, encoder, whatever, those really change it. We didn't actually look, did we? So this is great. I don't think we gave Dolly one of these. Wonder if it'll read the Caesar cipher. That would suck. Dude, seriously, man. There is a utility to that because, you know, if you find this on the web and you wonder what it is, it's like, I guess I want ChatGPT to be able to decode that, but I guess I should have said, I think it's going to say, wow, oh, awesome. Good for you, Dolly. Anything else?
Oh gosh. I think that's it, Pete. Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, thank y'all. I'll work on getting up recordings hopefully this weekend, I think. And then I wonder if we'll stick on Jenkifiers next week. Maybe we'll do one Jenkifier thing and then one LLM thing.
I'm looking up ways to come up with different Jenkifiers that are not
Nice.
so janky.
Thanks for trying to get me out the door, Danielle. I actually really appreciate it.
Oh no, I wasn't.
No.
proud of
I
her.
really do appreciate it because I suck at like getting off the phone because I'm having so much fun, right? We've got to go walk the dog and stuff, so I really do need to get off. I think it's this one. This actually worked really well, right? I won't put it like that. So, and the first thing I did was, what could we do with string of words to make it different, kind of? And I said an image prompt, so it actually came up with a bunch of ideas specifically for images, which is kind of good and kind of bad. This is the one. This is the scale one. That was totally useless. So then this is the next thing that you ask. Which of those are easy to do in JavaScript? Well, which could be done in JavaScript without calling any external APIs. A lot of times, I think if you ask it to do some of these things, like translate it to a different language, or some of these other ones, it would call out to an API, which you might want to do. Actually, try it. You might not want to do it. So this is a good follow-on question. So it kind of left this one in, which is why, do number 10 is the scale thing. And so this is the Jenkifier, the scale adjuster Jenkifier. It's totally useless. But anyway, tell it to ask it this way, come up with some cool things to do, make sure they're easy, make sure they're doable in JavaScript without calling anything external, and then do one or do all of them or whatever. So that actually worked. Let me also share this too, in case you find it inspiring. I got burned. My first try, I went too hard because I don't know, some of these other ones, well, this one we already did, right? It's like, well, whatever. Anyway, some of these are maybe useful. Some of them are too hard, even though ChatGPT didn't really think so.
Just FYI, I don't think I heard anything, but I did add a line 26 to the HackMD thing before we started today.
Cool, thank you.
I'm not sure you'll say that.
Probably on yesterday's one, right? So I apologize. I set all these HackMDs up. I'm not using them today, so I didn't see anything people did. So on this one, that's a good one.
I didn't know how to do the indenting.
You did it great.
Claire, you just go for it.
I'll switch it a little bit. You can actually just hit tab, I think, anywhere on the line, and it works. Thanks, Claire. Thank God I didn't read that, because otherwise it might have been bad. Thanks for your time, all. I appreciate it. Think about whether or not we should talk about Jenkifiers next time. I'm happy to keep doing this if it's still interesting and useful, but I'm also happy to switch to something else. Paul's nodding his head, so he's ready for more. So maybe I'll specifically say this will be a Jenkifier session, and then we'll pick something else for the other one or something.
I think we should have homework of trying to come up with something that's like a good Jankifier that isn't about frogs.
I like it. Is everybody good taking away that homework?
I'm already working on it.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of fond of raccoon dogs, actually. I don't know, that's derivative maybe.
Some of the I've liked the ones out of Raccoonifier and then the Frogifier.
I really,
I
my favorite one so far was the one that mixed
Interleaver.
the two prompts. Yeah, that just turned out the coolest to me so far. So
So try making a Jankifier that does like four prompts at the same time.
no, I can't even get one to turn out right. I had to ask you for help.
You got
me,
it. It
please.
was totally right. Dragging it into HackMD didn't work, but the Jankifier worked perfectly.
I see. I still need to learn how to copy and paste, apparently. So anyway, all right. But thank you.
Thanks all. Have a great weekend. We'll see you around.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.